With Senator Lindsey Graham. Senator, great to see you as always.
Thank you.
This is so disturbing that we're actually talking about this. I mean, we haven't even punished Russia for interfering in our presidential election, and here we are ahead of the 2018 midterms, and they somehow have a hand in that too. What is emboldening Russia in order to give them the power to do such a thing?
The lack of consequences from what they did in 2016. The sanctions we imposed are not enough. When they invaded the Ukraine and took Crimea back, the world basically gave them a pass. They're up to no good in Syria, and the Western world's just basically AWOL when it comes to pushing back on Russia. So if I were President Trump, I would call Putin up and say, this will stop if you continue to interfere in our democratic process. We're going to declare economic war on you. We're going to grind you into the ground economically, and the cost of doing business in America is going to go up when it comes to your misadventures. And if you don't talk to Putin that way, you're wasting your time.
Speaking of talking to Putin, as you know, the president just had a conversation with him.
Yeah.
I'm wondering how might the president's relationship, as he calls it, good chemistry, with Vladimir Putin possibly stop this from happening again, not just 2018, but the next presidential election. I mean, this is really threatening stuff. Russia has attempted, apparently, to infiltrate voting systems in at least 21 states.
Right. Well, what's coming next is changing voting totals. They actually can do that. We've had some demonstrations where they could actually go into a voting machine and change the tally. Look at the Pennsylvania race, 600 votes. How easy would it be to change the 2000 election where Florida presidential was decided by 500 votes? Well, all I can say is when it comes to Russia, President Trump is not getting the results we want. When it comes to North Korea, he's been awesome. North Korea fears Trump. When it comes to Iran, he's defined the Iranian deal as unacceptable, and it is, and I think the Iranians are afraid of Trump. When it comes to Russia, what he's doing is not working, and he needs to be as tough on Putin as he's been on Kim Jong Un.
The Senate Intelligence Committee released some disturbing information yesterday, but also proposals to prevent this from happening in 2018.
Right.
Some of their ideas include implementing stronger channels of communication between federal, state, and local election officials. That seems like an obvious must. But also to increase cybersecurity measures on election systems, recommending using voting machines not only that don't actually have Wi-Fi, but that actually have some form of a paper trail. And I believe, one of the committee members, Democrat Senator Harris, put it in the best way possible. Russia can't hack a piece of paper. Do we just need to go back in time and maybe go back to the Chad system? They can't certainly mess up the Chad system.
Well, here's what I would suggest that we do all we can as soon as we can. I have legislation to form a 9/11 style commission where the leadership of the House and the Senate and the President can appoint people to look at hardening the 2018 election in the private sector. In 60 days, tell us from a private sector point of view what we could do. Right now, there is no federal standards when it comes to voting machines. The states are in charge of elections. That's fine. But I'd like somebody to build a voting machine that can't be hacked, that's cyber savvy. Right now, there is no federal standards or state standards how to protect a voting system from a cyber attack. We need to build a voting machine that can't be hacked into, or go back to paper, one of the two.
Take it offline until you can figure it out.
Totally.
All right, I want to talk to you about a change of topic here, a bill that is very near and dear to your heart, the Taylor Force Act, named, of course, after Taylor Force, an American hero who was brutally murdered during a visit to Israel at the hands of terrorists. Now, if this legislation is passed, it would push back against the Palestinian Authority, which actually pays monetary rewards to martyrs and their families for committing heinous murders. I can't understand why Democrats are slowing a bill down that would actually end American taxpayer dollars going to the Palestinian Authority if they don't stop rewarding terrorists.
Well, we finally got into the bill, and I want to thank Senator Schumer for getting it in the bill, but they wanted to make changes, our Democratic friends, to basically take the teeth out of it, and we resisted most of those changes. Taylor Force served a tour of duty in Iraq and Afghanistan. He graduated from West Point. He was going to Israel on on in a graduate program studying at an Israeli university, went out to dinner, got stabbed by a terrorist. They sent the body back to Ramallah because the IDF killed the terrorist, and they welcomed the body back as a martyr. His family, the terrorist family, got a big payment from the Palestinian Authority. If you go to jail in Israel, they pay you while you're in jail. If you die as a terrorist, they give your family a bunch of money, free health care and free education. So we're stopping all financial aid to the Palestinian Authority until they change their laws that incentivize young Palestinians to kill Jews and Americans. And we're no longer going to put up with this. So Taylor Force did not die in vain. His mother and father, Stuart and Robbie Force, were a driving force behind this legislation. And this is going to bring about change, I hope. No more money to the Palestinians until they change the way they do business.
As it should be. Senator Lindsey Graham, thank you very much as always. Appreciate talking to you.